Hi guys, welcome to another episode by NinjaGaijin. On today's episode, I just want to go back in time a little bit and talk about an experience I had while I was driving my car and getting lost on a mountain. Yeah, on a mountain. So basically, I almost just ran over that bird that flew over there. But anyways, so basically, this story happened about, gosh, almost 6 years ago now. Yeah. So I came to Japan. I'm super pumped, excited to explore, but you know, I was unsure about, you know, where my surroundings are, how to get around. So one of the first things I bought was a GPS unit. And at the time, obviously, I didn't know much Japanese, but I did know some basic hiragana, katakana. So I punch in the address for my nearest train station. So my apartment's really close to a train station, so I always figured, you know what, it doesn't matter wherever I go. As long as I punch in this train station, I'll be able to get home, no problem. So I felt really safe and really, you know, just confident that, you know, it doesn't matter wherever I go, I'm good. So I started driving around my city, and I'm sure you've noticed by now, but the city that I live in is surrounded by mountains. So, you know, I was kind of excited to explore it, so I started driving around. I remember I first passed this, like, golf course, and, you know, I'm like, alright, past golf course, looks nice, I'm driving. I found this really old shrine, like, in the middle of the forest, which was really cool. I parked my car, I went in, it was really eerie and kind of felt like mystical and stuff like that. And you know, it was Saturday, so I was pretty confident. I was like, you know what, I'm just gonna keep driving, and you know, let's just see what happens. So I keep driving, and I get to this this road. One road forks around the mountain. This other road goes up the mountain. And I'm like, you know what? It's like 5:30-ish. You know, I'm sure the sun's gonna set soon, and I bet if I go to the top of this mountain, I'm gonna have this killer view of the whole city. So, all right, let's go. So I'm driving up, and I notice that the paved road becomes a dirt road. I'm like, okay, well, it's still like a road. I'm driving up a little bit more, and I get to this bend, right? So I go up, and then I go here, and then there's one more turn, kind of going up, making a sharp right-hand turn. So I make the right-hand turn, and then I immediately notice that the road becomes like an 80-degree angle, really short, and the path is like full of stones. And I'm like, oh shit, what am I supposed to do now? So I noticed that my car is not accelerating anymore up the mountain. And to get to this path, I made a sharp right-hand turn. So if I was to go directly behind me, like go all the way back, then I would be going off a cliff. Like, and it was like probably maybe 200-foot drop or something. So I'm like, okay, let's take this one step at a time. So I start easing on the gas pedal, like gas, 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 and my car is like going like this, down, 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 down. And I'm making my right-hand turn, thinking, holy shit, I'm gonna die, I'm gonna fall off this 200-foot whatever drop, and I'm in the mountains, no one will find me. Yeah, I was really, really safe then. So anyways, I finally make the turn, and I'm right about to get out of the little path that I came in, when I notice my car is not accelerating anymore. And I'm like, why? I keep pushing it, fumes are coming out of the back, nothing's happening. So I said, okay. So I went out, and lo and behold, there's this giant rock that's stuck underneath my car. Like imagine you have your front tire, and then right behind the front tire, there's this like metal, I don't even know what you call it, metal board or metal beam, whatever. Underneath that was a giant rock. So it was lifting my front tire a little bit, so I couldn't move it. So at first, I had the bright idea of trying to yank the stone out with my hands. It wasn't the greatest idea. First attempt, ouch. I sliced a bit of my hand, or my finger rather. So now I'm bleeding. The rock is still there. And of course, the sun is setting soon. Great. So I'm like, all right, well, what can I do? What can I do? So I get my phone. I call one of the local English teachers, the one guy who speaks Japanese well. I call him, doesn't pick up. I'm like, crap. Okay, so now I'm like, okay, what can I do? What can I do? So I end up calling my supervisor. And, I should actually rewind a little bit. So I'm trying to call my supervisor, and I noticed that my signal is really low. So I said, okay, well, I probably should get down the mountain. But the thing is, I drove up it, like a good 15 minutes. So now I should mention that I'm walking down the mountain. It's getting pretty dark. I'm hearing animal sounds. And I'm like, oh my God. First I was worried I was gonna die because I'm gonna fall off that cliff. And now I'm gonna get eaten. Fantastic. And I should mention that in these wonderful, like, woods, forest area, whatever, there are bears and boars. So, yeah. Anyways, I finally come down the mountain. Probably takes like 30 minutes. I don't know. I'm kind of like galloping down. I call my supervisor, and I should notice that I should say that I have around like 5% battery life. Yeah, it's like a perfect movie, isn't it? Anyways, I call my supervisor, and his English is horrible, and my Japanese is okay at best. So he's asking me, like, what's wrong? What's wrong? And I said, well, my car is stuck on a mountain. And he's like, oh, are you hurt? Are you hurt? I'm like, no, I'm not hurt. My car is stuck on a mountain, and I don't know what to do, because there was no jack in my car, and I can't take it out. So he's like, okay, where are you? And I'm like, well, I mean, there's a lot of mountains, and oh, that's right. There was a golf course that I passed. I remember the golf course. And he's like, there's 3 golf courses in the city. And I'm like, I don't know which one it was. And then he's like, well, what else is there? I'm like, well, there was this shrine in the middle of, or this temple in the middle of like this forest area. He's like, there's a lot of shrines and temples in this area. I'm like, oh my God. And then I'm like, okay, well, I'm just gonna go and try and find someone who can help me. And I'll call you back because my battery's about to die. He's like, okay. So now I hang up and I'm running. I'm running in the street. It's this long street, no cars, nothing. By now it's probably close to 7, and I can't really see much, and I can't really use my phone as a flashlight because it's about to die. So I'm like literally just running in the dark. Yeah, fantastic. So anyways, I'm running and I'm like, oh, what am I gonna do? At one point, I even just give up. I'm like sitting in the middle of the road, and I'm like, well, someone's bound to come eventually. Hopefully I don't sleep here so they don't run me over. But luckily it didn't lead to that. I ended up walking, I think, an hour and a half. I found this guy's house, and I was so thirsty, I was tired. I remember just knocking, and I timed it so as soon as I finished knocking, I had already called my supervisor, and I just literally thrust the phone into the guy's face. I'm like, talk to him. Luckily, the person was really cool. He let me come in, gave me some coffee, and then like I told him about my car being stuck in the mountain. And he's like, you know what? Let's just do it together. Let's just take care of it. Now, at the time, my supervisor was already coming, but hey, you know, if I can get my car out, awesome. So we're driving, and he's like, so where's your car? I'm like, you see that small road going up the mountain? Up there. He's like, that's not a driving path. I'm like, oh, well, there was no sign. And he's like, oh, well, yeah, there's no sign, but, you know, you're not supposed to go up there. I'm like, oh, fantastic. I'm glad someone was there to tell me that. So we're like driving up, and he's like laughing because he's like, you know, he himself has never drove up this mountain. And we get to my car, and luckily he has a jack, so he jacks it up, take out the rock, and then, you know, I'm on my way back. So I'm driving, I'm following him. We stop at his place, I thank him, and exactly at that point, my supervisor comes. Now, I should mention that in the story, it's like I did call my other friend, and I tried to best explain where I was, and he was awesome. He actually came, and he came there basically the same time as my supervisor. So, if my supervisor wasn't coming, he was coming, and in the end, it was it just turned out to be a funny story about me being, stuck on a mountain somewhere. But the lesson learned is just because you have a GPS doesn't mean you're safe. And then later on, I tried to go back to the mountain to explain to some other people what path I took, and unfortunately now the path is actually closed with a do not enter sign. I wonder why. Yeah. Well, anyways, this was just like a story time about me being stuck on a mountain. If you have any questions, if you're driving in Japan, or you've ever gotten lost or stuck somewhere, please comment down below. If you have any questions about driving, using GPS, etc. in Japan, or really anything about Japan in general, please feel free to comment down below, and I will get back to you as soon as I can. Alright guys, once again, thanks for watching. Bye.